Hello and welcome back to Bricking It. And today we are building the living room at Spinner's End. So I've got the base already laid out, got a nice rug in the middle. Now we're going to start building the main feature of this building, which is bookshelves. Now there's a lot of variety in this build. It's fairly repetitive, but it does give us an opportunity to discuss some Lego maths and how it applies to the building of bookshelves. So this end of our wall, which is about the only part of wall that's visible, is going to be in an appropriate colour, and as all the rest is unseen on display, then we're just going to use these colourful bricks to fill in the space. So obviously I'm going to need to be able to clip on my book covers, as I so often do with my hidden displays, so we need to put a couple of brackets on the back, but otherwise just going to be using up a bunch of colourful bricks that I'm not going to be using anywhere else. This back wall isn't going to extend all the way to the end because we're actually going to be adding our first book into this gap here. So there's a few different ways we can add books to the bookshelf, and the first one is like this. We're going to use some of these half round tiles on this 1x2 plate. I'm going to attach them to a 2 stud tall snot brick. This is going to actually be integrated into the wall, so we get our first book on the bookshelf like that. You can use the same sort of technique, but this time with a bracket. And we're going to put a plate and an ingot on top to form a book cover, and that's going to slot in next door. Now because we've got an odd number of studs, that bracket is going to allow us to keep everything nice and even as we complete our bookshelf. So our books are made of simple stacks of tiles with a plate on the very top. And as you can see here, we've got 5 tiles and plates, and they are exactly the same length as 2 studs of brick across the build. In the corner here we're using this snot brick with studs on 2 sides just to hold in our next run of bricks. And again, using our basic Lego math, because we have an even number of studs across the bookshelf, we can easily calculate the number of plates we need in our layer, that being 5 plates for every 2 studs we are working across the shelf. So you can see in this 4 stud section I'm just adding now, that's going to be a stack of 10 plates and tiles. It's a nice tight fit. Just wedge that in there. That's our first layer of books done. Use a few different styles to create our book covers. We'll talk about that a bit more while we add our second level in. Not going to see into the corner, so I can use a round tile because I've got plenty. And now our second level of books are ready. You can see these half round stick out to 2 different depths, adding a nice bit of variety. It's because we use 2 different techniques to construct them. So here we have another run of plates and tiles. We also use some headlight bricks in there, just so we can add an ingot onto the face of them, just to create a wider book cover. Whenever I'm using headlight bricks in a stack like this, I try and make sure that the plate directly underneath is the same colour as the headlight brick I used, just so they both sort of merge together into forming another size of book cover. More shelves. Now in this corner we're going to work slightly differently than we have in the corner before. Going to add our brackets and plates just to finish off the back of the build wall. And I want the top of this build to be smooth across the top, so I don't want to use a snot brick, so I'm going to be using a bracket. Now when you attach a bracket, 2 plates or a plate and a tile will be exactly equal to 1 stud build width. You can see I'm going to use another bracket in this corner, and that helps keep the shelf length even all the way across, because we're using an odd number of studs for the length of the shelf. gone from 6 to 7 studs. We need to add a bracket in just to keep all those books evenly spaced all the way across. Same on this stack, because we're now using an odd number, we need that bracket at the end. So there's our full selection of books. See, most of our wall is ugly colourful brick, but we're not really going to see that on display. It's only going to be front facing. And on the opposite side, we can add a short length of wall and the living room door, which Wormtail lurks behind. And then once tiled off, this gives us the basis of our living room. So obviously we need to add a few more details in here. So we're going to start off with Snape's armchair. Very simple build, one we've seen many times in various Harry Potter sets. There are a few variations of doing this, but this is fundamentally the smallest size you can do for an armchair, 4x3. Unless of course you use brackets on the side of the chair just to reduce the space taken up by these small builds. But in general, 4 studs wide and 3 studs deep is the size you're going to be wanting to allocate for a comfortable chair in any kind of interiors build. Simply made up. We've got a snot brick on this one, just as we are the last 2 tiles. You'll see that the snot brick is going to be holding on a cushion onto the chair. I'm going to raise this up off the ground by putting some stud feet on it, just reddish brown 1 by 1 in 3 of the corners. But as the floor is tiled and patterned, we've got no way to stand up a lamp, and we don't want to give it a 2x2 base and increase the side. So by using this 1x2 with holes in the studs, it allows us to put this bar on and create a small reading lamp right up next to the chair without taking up too much extra space in our build. So now scene is complete without the minifigures. So here we have Bellatrix, who has accompanied her sister Narcissa across to Spinner's End, the home of Severus Snape. And this scene is showing us Snape making the unbreakable vow to aid Malfoy during the Half-Blood Prince. So that's our scene. Nice and easy. Quite colourful. Uses up a number of bricks I wasn't going to be using anywhere else. And of course, I need my book covers. As this is a low display, I've depicted them as 2 cut books lying on their side. They just clip onto those brackets on the back. Got all this that we're never going to see. Could change it for tan if I needed to, if it's going to be open, but I'm happy with it just how it is. So that's our build. Nice and simple. You can see quite a lot of variety that you're able to achieve when building up your bookshelves by using the tiles with rails and the headlight bricks and those rounded over 1x1 studs. You can create quite a fair variety of interest and texture in your bookshelves, so it's not all just one long run of uniformly sized and spaced colours. So all that remains is to say thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please do leave us a like, and for more Wizarding World mock builds, please subscribe to Bricking It. Bye bye.